I'm Becca from Becca Harkins Art, and I am back to do another swipe. I had so much fun with my last one that I just had to try it again, and I want to do a little bit of a different composition, and I also mixed my own custom colors. Surprise, surprise. I love the bold, vibrant colors, but sometimes when I'm looking at them, I just feel like, I wish this had a little bit more earth tone to it. I wish it felt a little bit more homey and more comfortable and more grounded. So I love to mix up my own colors. So I have this beautiful color palette before me. Going to be pouring using these colors over a black base. The first color I'm starting with is this beautiful custom mixed pinky red color. This color started as Quinacridone Magenta, which is somewhat transparent, and I wanted to make sure that it would show up against the black background. So I added an opaque red, and then I added some white to lighten it, but then it was a little bit too pink for my liking. So I toned it back down with Quinacridone Nickel Azo Gold. I know, it's going extinct, at least for a little while. So I just added a few drops, but I really, really love the color that this turned out. The next color, I started with the same light blue permanent that I did in my last painting, and I added some white because I wanted it to be a little bit lighter, and I decided to add just a little bit of Quinacridone Nickel Azo Gold to this one as well, and it made it this really beautiful greenish pastel light green, minty green color, and I think that's so pretty. And I think the really toned down minty green color against that vibrant magenta is going to be quite a beautiful contrast. I also mixed up some Liquitex Turquoise, which I love that color. It's very opaque. It has a tendency to really take over. And then I also added some Quinacridone Nickel Azo Gold to this one because I wanted to tone it down. And I think that the camera is making it look a little bit more blue than it is, but it really has some green tones to it. So I'm hoping you can see that color well. And then my final color is gold. I did not mix this with anything other than Floetrol. We're just gonna let that color be. So this is my final color palette. I am really happy with the way these colors look together, and I'm so excited to get them on the canvas and see how they spread out. So let's get to it. The first thing that I'm gonna do is cover my 10-inch by 20-inch canvas with a layer of the black base paint. The black paint is a mixture of Artist Loft Soft Body Black, Floetrol, and Liquitex Gloss Medium. The canvas tends to kind of hold on to the paints, which is what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to grab onto the paint so that they don't come off, but I find that in this swipe technique, it has a tendency to grab onto the paints, and then as I'm tilting the canvas around, it rolls over itself. So I decided for this one to give it a full wet paint background, just a really thin layer. And I thought this might help me gain a little bit more control over my tilting after I swipe. So we'll see. I'll give it a try and we'll see what happens. Surprise! You get to see my lovely reflection in the black paint as I tilt the paints around. As I'm tilting, you can see the reflection from my lights that there are a lot of bubbles in the base coat. I'm honestly not sure why there were so many bubbles, and I was a little bit frustrated by that because I had mixed this paint up 2 days prior, and I thought by now the bubbles would have released out of the paint, but you can see there are lots and lots of bubbles. So I am going to torch this thing pretty heavily to get those bubbles out. That's also another reason why I tilted the canvas around. The paints for this technique are pretty thick, and I wanted to thin them out for the base as much as I could. to bring more of the bubbles to the surface so that I could torch them out before I put my other colored paints on and do the swipe. One of my viewers suggested that I lay my paints down in puddles instead of stripes, and I decided to give that a try for this painting because I wanted to get a little bit more of the colors mixing together. That is my favorite part about the swipe, is when you have inside of a cell, it kind of gradiates from the outside to the inside with maybe gold and then pink and then turquoise. It's really, really pretty. So I'm laying these paints down in puddles, and then I'm going to swipe over them and hope for a lot of really great color mixing in the cells. Here I've got my cell activator on my palette knife, and this is made up of 3 parts Australian Floetrol to 1 part Amsterdam black paint. Look at those cells growing. It is so satisfying. I love the ones that have multiple colors in them. So pretty. Well, there it is. I like it. I think it's really interesting. And it has a lot of really beautiful cell areas where the colors mix together just like I hoped they would. There's this one tiny area here where the gold kind of went astray, so I'm just going to take my palette knife and kind of wipe that down under the black paints so that it has more of a cohesive look. And then I'm going to bring you in for a close-up. You have to see the beautiful cells. Look at those. The pink and the blues and the golds mixed together so beautifully. I've got to figure out how to stretch the sections that I really like to make the cells bigger because, oh man, it's so pretty. And then there are certain parts like this that look like a galaxy, and then it kind of fades into where the golds and the light blue and the pinks, oh, even the sides, look at that, even the sides are amazing. This method of swiping is pretty cool. I gotta say, I like it. I think this might be my favorite area. Doesn't that look like stained glass? Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so yet. And here's a few more videos for you to check out. See you for the next one.